If you're new to Final Expense or you've been grinding for months and still not seeing results, this might be the most important video you'll watch all year. Because I'm about to walk you through 4 hard truths that almost took me out of the business, but ultimately helped me build a 6-figure life insurance career. And if you take them to heart, they'll change the game for you too. Let's talk about what no one tells you when you start and what separates the agents who quit from the agents who close. I'm Ryan Valet, your Fexpert or Final Expense expert, and I've sold over $20,000 a month for 3+ years off of client booked appointments only. Now I help agents like you actually make a living in this industry. Because here's the truth, this business will give you freedom, but only if you build it right. So let's dive into the 4 truths that every agent needs to know. Truth 1, if your life is a mess, your business will be too. I want to give it to you straight. Over 90% of new agents leave this business within their first year. And most of the time, it's not because they didn't believe in the product. It's because they never developed the mindset it takes to survive the start. You can't sell confidently when your life is falling apart behind the scenes. When I was starting out, I had a 10-year-old who needed me and a newborn who didn't care how many dials I made. Sleep was optional. Time was scarce. Stress, that was a daily companion. There were nights I'd stare at my phone, knowing I needed to make 100 more dials, and instead I'd be holding a crying baby, wondering if I was even cut out for this. I almost quit more than once. Not because I didn't believe in Final Expense, but because life was so loud. It was heavy, and most days it felt like trying to run uphill in a thunderstorm. Here's what I learned though. You don't need perfect circumstances to succeed. You need a controlled environment. You need a system, a routine, and a mindset that lets you be consistent even when life feels chaotic. Excuses won't pay your bills. Resilience will. The agents who make it in Final Expense aren't the ones who have it all figured out. They're the ones who refuse to let life take them out of the game. Final Expense rewards consistency, not chaos. And if you can build a foundation of discipline in your life, your business will follow. Truth number 2. Act like you're broke because you probably are. Here's one of the biggest traps new agents fall into. You finally crack a 5K or 10K month and suddenly you feel like a baller. You're ready to celebrate, maybe buy a new car, take that vacation, upgrade your lifestyle. But here's the hard truth. That money, it's not wealth, it's survival fuel. I didn't rush out to buy a new car. I didn't upgrade my house. I kept my expenses lean and focused on stacking a financial cushion. Because in this business, cycles happen. I had kids to feed and bills to pay, and I knew one good month didn't mean I could relax. I kept reinvesting in leads, building margin, and buying back my time. That's how you create freedom. Because in this game, consistency pays, and discipline is what creates consistency. My friends and family thought I was being cheap. I wasn't. I was being strategic. The first time you act rich, you kill your momentum. In this business, you need a financial buffer. Why? Because this industry has cycles. There are hot months and slow months. There are chargebacks. There are leads to buy. There are weeks where nothing closes. And if you don't have margin, you'll start selling from fear. You'll start taking bad deals. You'll start chasing clients. You'll lose the confidence and composure that makes clients want to buy from you. Your first goal isn't to look successful. It's to build stability. Stack 15K to 20K in savings as fast as you can. That buffer gives you confidence. It gives you freedom. You stop selling from fear and start selling from power. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when your ego wants to flex. Final Expense is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Don't sacrifice long-term success for short-term dopamine. Truth number 3, don't chase paychecks. Build a vision. This one's honestly a bit personal. Before insurance, I was working a full-time job, paycheck to paycheck. I wasn't lazy. I worked hard. But no matter how hard I worked, by the time Friday came, I was watching my bank account like a hawk, hoping it would be enough to get us through. We weren't starving, but we weren't thriving either. Every week I was just waiting on that next paycheck to hit. That was survival mode. I'd work to pay the bills, reset, and do it all over again. And honestly, I was starting to feel stuck. At some point, I had to stop and ask myself, what's the end game here? Was I going to do the same cycle for the next 10 to 20 years? Or was I going to figure out a way to build something that gave me more for me and my family? And that's the mindset shift that prepared me for success in this business. When you stop thinking like an agent and start thinking like a business owner, you play the game differently. You start making decisions based on where you're going, not where you are. You stop chasing paychecks and you start building systems. You invest in your skills, you track your numbers, you manage your cash flow. You start designing a life that serves your family, not just your next commission cycle. When you have a vision that's bigger than the next deposit, you develop long-term thinking. You start thinking legacy. Because let me tell you, the agents who win long-term are the ones who build businesses they don't need to escape from. If you're chasing what hits your account this week, you're only going to be behind. Build a vision, build a business, build a life. Truth number 4, develop short-term amnesia. Selling life insurance will almost certainly mess with your head if you let it. It's an emotional roller coaster. One day you'll close 3 deals before lunch. The next day, half your calls go to voicemail. 3 people tell you it's a scam, and 1 guy lectures you about why life insurance is a waste of money. Or it feels like you're stuck in a string of not interested hangups, and by noon you're wondering if your phone's even working. Early on, every bad call crushed me. Every no felt personal, and it almost always showed up in my tone, my energy, and my results. But over time, I learned something that changed the game. The best agents aren't the ones who win every day. They're the ones who show up the same every day. They don't get high on the wins. They don't get low on the losses. They have emotional consistency, and that consistency compounds. It took me 3 years to get to a place where my wife couldn't tell whether I had had a good day or a bad one. That's skill. It's called short-term amnesia. You have to learn to reset fast. Win or lose, move on to the next call. Don't carry the last conversation into the next one. Clients feel your energy. And if you're dragging disappointment into every call, it will cost you deals. Final Expense rewards those who can manage their state. Master your emotions and you'll master this business. If this message hit home for you, do me a favor and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. I'm building for the long run. And if you're ready to go deeper, to learn real strategies that will help you win in this business, stick around. This channel was built for agents like you. Because success isn't an accident, it's a decision. And you're just one decision away from a totally different life. I'll leave you with this. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. See you guys in the next one.
Subscribe now to be a Fexpert. Do it.